Open to the wow. W-O-W.
Wow, 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 wow.
Wow, 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 wow. The word of wisdom.
All right, well, welcome back to Siblings in Zion. I'm Dan.
I'm Lisa.
And
we are currently breaking the word of wisdom.
That's for sure. So as we are recording this, it's August 2019, and the church has, through their magazine, what's it called?
Yeah, what's that one? The New Era?
New Era, yeah.
And that's also The Friend.
Is that mostly for young members?
Yeah, The Friend's mostly for kids. The New Era is mostly for young.
Yeah. Teenagers and shit.
Right. Shit.
So in light of today's ever-evolving world of things
and stuff
and
information
and things that kids shouldn't be doing.
Nope.
Bad.
But you're bad.
I guess the church felt the need to provide some clarification about what you
to really spell it out
can't do in case you were unclear or in case you thought you can get away with something like vaping. So it attempts clarification and then just muddies the waters even more, of course. So the word of wisdom we've talked about a little bit before comes from Doctrine and Covenants, section 89, which even in the introduction in the scripture says that as a consequence of the early brethren using tobacco in their meetings, the prophet was led to ponder upon the matter.
Because Emma was like, I'm sick of cleaning up this shit.
Yeah, your tobacco spit.
As the story goes.
Right. Consequently, he inquired of the Lord concerning it. This revelation, known as the word of wisdom, was the result. The first 3 verses were originally written as an inspired introduction and description by the prophet.
Written by the prophet.
Yeah.
So is this not technically a revelation?
I guess not.
It is or it isn't a revelation.
A word of wisdom for the benefit of the council of high priests assembled in Kirtland.
A word to the wise.
And the church, and also the saints in Zion. That's me and you. So
siblings in Zion.
It goes on to say a bunch of stuff that the church has, to some, adhered strictly and beyond what's actually written.
Right.
And to some, not so much. Such as to the meat.
The meat.
In verse 12, yea, flesh also of beasts and of the fowls of the air, I, the Lord, have ordained for the use of man with thanksgiving. Nevertheless, they are to be used sparingly.
Here's the thing. I think it's in the first verse, it says something along the lines of, to the weakest of the saints, or those who could be called saints.
Given for a principle with the promise, adapted to the capacity of the weak and the weakest of all saints who are or can be called saints.
Right. So it's a principle with a promise, not necessarily a commandment. Yeah. But I feel like I've always heard it talked about as kind of a spectrum. Like the more faithful you are, the more hardcore you're going to be about it.
You're right.
But if that were the case, then the prophet should be vegan.
Yeah.
You know, like, or at least vegetarian.
Yeah, or at least using meat sparingly.
Right. Yeah.
And the next verse, it should be pleasing unto me that they should not be used only in times of winter or of cold or famine.
Yeah.
So hardly ever.
Hardly ever. Unless it's, 2019 and there's global warming. But like, I feel like they're reserving it for like the elite. Like at some future day, the Lord's going to want us to live this to the T, but it's not now. It's kind of like the law of consecration. Like we're not expected to do that now. I feel like that's kind of the mentality with Mormons. Yeah, exactly.
It's still in the scriptures.
Still a principle, just not currently practiced by the church. Anyway,
But
a thought.
The biggest one being hot drinks are not for the body or belly.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all it says.
That's all.
Okay, so verse 8. Tobacco is not for the body, neither for the belly, and is not good for man, but is an herb for bruises and all sick cattle to be used with judgment and skill. Okay, so it's so confusing. Inasmuch as any man drinketh wine or strong drink among you, behold, it is not good, neither meat in the sight of your Father, only in assembling yourselves together to offer up your sacraments before him.
Yeah.
So taking wine was sacrament.
Right, which
we don't
do.
And behold, this should be wine, yea, pure wine, of the grape of the vine, and of your own make.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
strong drinks are not for the belly, but for the washing of your bodies. So weird.
Yeah. My mission president argued that Christ wasn't drinking wine. He was drinking like grape juice because it was...
Where's that in scriptures?
It's not. Like,
for sure,
like
drinking wine.
From the fruit of the vine. He was like, that's grapes.
It is grape juice.
Just fermented.
It's science.
Yeah. When I was a kid and I heard strong drinks are not for the belly, I didn't understand the difference between alcohol and like the rubbing alcohol we had in our bathroom cabinet. So I was like, why would you want to put that in your belly?
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
So stupid. Some vodka can taste like rubbing alcohol.
Ugh.
That's not great.
Okay.
But that's all it says.
That's
is
it.
Hot drinks are not for the body or belly.
No more specific.
And I don't even know why that's even in here. Because it doesn't say really what those hot drinks are.
This was all about tobacco to begin with.
Yeah.
Which now we know is not great.
Of course.
I don't want that.
No, me either.
I'm not into that.
But it had to be clarified later that quote unquote hot drinks, church leaders have explained, means tea and coffee.
Footnote.
But however this happened, the devil in the detail became caffeine, which is in tea and coffee.
Right.
And that's what you're not supposed to have.
Right.
That is the colloquial understanding in the church, that caffeine is the problem.
Yep.
However, that's not in here, and neither is it in this clarification article in the New Era. It doubles down on coffee and tea being bad. It says nothing about caffeine. It says nothing about soda or energy drinks, which are higher in caffeine than coffee.
Don't make no sense.
So is coffee the problem, or is it just arbitrarily these hot drinks? Because it's not hot cocoa, because Mormons drink the shit out of it. It's not in here, and it's also not here.
I do not understand where all of that
And also,
is coming
why
from.
would the Lord give a shit if you're sipping on some Joe?
He just must really not like coffee. He's like,
Then why do you
God,
make so much of it?
it's too bitter. Stop drinking that shit.
There's tea leaves everywhere. And of course, this is written for, the young readers, but it is so small-minded and infantilizing. Like
Read to me.
that you don't know.
Read to me like I don't know.
And it's also such a short article. We could just read the whole thing. It starts off by introducing the clarification of vaporizers. If this says
As far as tobacco goes?
Yeah.
Is that where that's
this
falling
says
under?
one study showed that nearly 2/3 of teen e-cigarette users thought that the pods they were vaping contained only flavoring, which in some cases is true,
Yeah.
but generally speaking, they are nicotine based.
Right.
It says vaping is clearly against the word of wisdom. Clearly. Mocha, latte, and macchiato, etc. The word coffee isn't always in the name of coffee drinks. So before you try what you think is some new milkshake flavor, here are a couple rules of thumb. If you're in a coffee shop or any other shop that's well known for its coffee, the drink you're ordering probably has coffee in it. So either never buy drinks at coffee shops or always ask if there's coffee in it. Drinks with the name cafe or cafe, mocha, latte, espresso, or anything with chino are coffee and against the word of wisdom.
Wow.
Green tea, iced tea. Green tea and black tea are both made from the same leaves of the same plant. The only difference is that the leaves in black tea are fermented, and in green tea they're not. They're both tea and against the word of wisdom. Oh, why?
Why
though?
Why though? But why?
Some drinks have tea in them, but don't advertise the fact, so always check the ingredients. Also, iced tea is still tea, so it doesn't matter if it's hot or cold. But no mention of caffeine.
Oh my God. Iced tea? Still tea.
So we can slam your Diet Cokes,
Slam them.
That's a big one in the Mormon Church. You can slam your Monster Energies, your Red Bulls, anything that before the general understanding was the caffeine was the bad thing. The caffeine was the addictive substance in these drinks.
Yeah, that's what was demonized for sure.
And it doesn't even say the word caffeine. I've read this twice.
I've scoured
I don't see caffeine, just coffee and tea.
And the 8-year-old me that drank Pepsi for the first time was like, I'm going to hell.
When I was like, I think I was 9, I had Mountain Dew.
I remember you drinking Mountain Dew.
I was like, fuck yeah.
And I remember tasting it one time. And I was like, is this the nectar of the gods?
A Mountain Dew
What is
Slurpee
happening? Yeah. I was like, that's the most delicious thing I've ever tasted.
You said that I told you when you asked for a drink before that, I told you that it tasted like dirty diapers or something so that you wouldn't want it.
That is
I was trying to protect you.
From Daniel. I'm sorry, this tastes like dirty diapers. You don't want that. And I was like, whatever.
That makes sense.
I don't believe you.
Then why are you drinking it?
Why are you drinking it? It looks like urine, for sure.
For sure.
I mean, if that person was extremely dehydrated.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But you bring up a very good point with this.
Don't I? Do I need to bring up that point? Why the fuck doesn't it say anything about caffeine or soft drinks?
It absolutely is.
Now, I can't.
Ridiculous.
I personally don't know if this is verifiable, but I do believe that among the church's portfolio of investments is soft drink companies.
Right.
So if the caffeine is demonized as a drug specifically in these things, and they are known to be invested in these things, they're fucked.
They're fucked.
But to double down on the coffee and tea thing, when if this is supposed to be some sort of health code, it is well known that sugary drinks and highly caffeinated drinks are a problem for the human body.
Yeah.
Basically. And in excess, which both of them are consumed in excess.
Yeah.
Cause major problems.
Right.
Coffee and tea.
Not so much.
Not so much. And quite to the contrary.
Not so much.
There's a list of benefits, none of which are mentioned here.
Nope.
They don't even say why they're bad.
They just
don't drink them.
Just don't do it. Just be obedient.
It's infuriating.
And you won't die.
My mom found out that I drank coffee and she's like, why? Why would you do that? There's studies about how bad it is for you.
Are there?
No. If you drink a shit ton, just like anything.
Right.
Of course. If you have 10 cups of coffee a day, if you're drinking 2 pots of coffee a day, you got a problem.
I remember thinking as a kid, like, oh my God, I am never drinking coffee. That is terrible.
But there are plenty of studies to show that it has health benefits.
Yeah. I mean, I like coffee.
Yeah, I'm
a fan.
I didn't drink coffee until I was 33 years old.
That was not that long ago.
Not because I thought I was bad. I never
remember
the taste of it.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. You were like, hey, I started drinking coffee. I was like, you did?
Not so bad, huh?
Oh. I really like how it stimulates the digestive system.
Oh, it gets it going.
It gets it going real good.
It turns out.
It turns out it's nice.
It should be good for your body.
Yeah. I'm a fan. I mean, in China, I drink green tea like it's water.
Yeah, all those people
it is, but
are doing great.
They're doing great. I mean, it's like miracle tea over there. I think I prefer black, but I drink a lot of green tea.
Yeah, tea is world renowned for its benefits.
I love tea. It's the poor man's drink and the rich man's drink.
For your body, for community, and, there's rituals.
Exactly. It's gorgeous.
Ancient and current rituals based around teas. Nothing is wrong with it.
No. Except for Indian tea makes me sick because it has milk in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not the tea itself.
Nope. It's just me.
It's so weird.
It is really bizarre.
Whether iced or hot, it doesn't matter if it's coffee or tea,
No good.
Don't do it.
Elder Uchtdorf in a recent conference
cool
address.
apostle.
Right, the suave one.
Yeah.
He talked about, for some reason, he was staying up really late, and he made some joke about how an unnamed diet beverage, which will remain nameless, like he helped him like do whatever project he was doing, and everybody thought it was super hilarious. Dieter.
He's a comedian.
Yeah. Whenever anyone makes a joke in general conference, everybody just acts like it's the funniest thing they've ever heard because it's literally the only spark of humanity.
Yeah, finally an opportunity
that
to
they're
laugh.
hearing in 10 hours of droning. Everybody was laughing because he was kind of opening this window into the fact that, yeah, everyone drinks Coke.
Yeah. We all do it, guys.
We all do
know
it.
that, right?
I mean,
yeah, as long as it's not coffee.
It's not in the scriptures. I think everybody in the church just keeps waiting for some kind of study to definitively address that coffee and tea inexplicably cause cancer or something. And then they're going to be like, oh, we told you so. For all this time, we weren't drinking toffee. We weren't drinking toffee. We weren't drinking coffee and tea because it was bad. We didn't know why, but it just was. And now
if that was true, it would be known by now.
It would be.
Coffee and tea have existed for long before the church did.
Long before.
And there's reason to believe that it would be beneficial in staving off cancer.
Yeah.
And sugar, not so much.
Not so much.
Turns that shit right on.
Right on.
Cancer feeds
that
on
cancer in your guts.
You idiots. We already know it's bad.
But nope. That's fine.
Nevertheless, wheat for man, and corn for the ox, and oats for the horse, and rye for the fowls, and for swine, and for all beasts of the field, and barley for all useful animals, and for mild drinks. Useful animals? As also other grain. So I have never heard a Mormon stance for why this does not mean beer.
Right.
What the fuck else could it be?
Grandma drinks Pero, which is a barley grain drink. That you drink hot.
Is that mild? Is that a mild drink?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
It's like a substitution for coffee.
Wow. Well, then there you go.
But yeah, that should definitely mean beer.
It certainly could be argued that it does.
Yeah. That's fine. I'll take it.
So, of course, marijuana is not mentioned here.
Of course, no.
Neither is, opioids and painkillers and antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication that Utah is devouring as well.
Devouring. Single-handedly.
Marijuana.
They do talk about it in that article, right?
This is a bit surprising because marijuana has always been demonized. Just like, the church is not alone in this.
Right.
It's, the whole country for the longest time. But marijuana may be legal for medicinal and even recreational use in a lot of places now. But that doesn't mean that any use is suddenly not against the word of wisdom. Medical uses are being studied. But just like many pain medications, such as opioids, marijuana is an addictive substance, which there is no citation for evidence of that.
They're just like, here's a fact.
Everyone knows it. It's just as addictive as opioids. That's certainly not true. If it's addictive at all, I would argue that it's not.
Yeah.
It may be habit forming.
Maybe.
That's not the same as addiction. Maybe.
At the most.
If you like something, you do it.
Obviously.
Such habit-forming substances should be avoided except under the care of a competent physician and then used only as prescribed.
But what Mormon doctor in Utah is going to prescribe
I don't know,
marijuana?
Cool. But it doesn't distinguish between opioids and marijuana here, as if to say, if it's prescribed, it may be taken.
I am very surprised by that. Like, shocked.
Yeah, they can't open up to coffee.
But they can open up to marijuana?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It says something in here about herbs, right? And again, verily I say unto you, all wholesome herbs God hath ordained for the constitution, nature, and use of man. Every herb in the season thereof, and every fruit in the season thereof, and all these to be used with prudence and thanksgiving. Well, thank you, Lord, for this abundance of marijuana
Under
graces
heaven.
the great state of Oregon. Woo!
A time to get high. A time to eat meat.
Word of wisdom. It's hard.
Moderation
it's
in all
hardly
things.
wise. That's certainly appropriate. Moderation in all things.
Yeah.
That's all you got to say, really.
Really, that's what it all boils down to.
But there is certainly no moderation of, I don't know, Jell-O salads, funeral potatoes,
Funeral potatoes.
milk.
All the days. All the funerals. Funeral potatoes.
It's really, really backwards. If it's a health code,
It makes no
it's
sense.
super backwards.
Yeah, it is.
2 or 3 people have sent me links to news article coverage of this clarification, quote unquote.
I was thinking about it the other day. I think I told you Mormons are so depressed. They're just eating all sorts of
just
comfort
pretending.
food shits. It's just ugh. That's
Spend
why
so
they're
much
eating all
time
that.
pretending like they're okay.
Yeah.
Like they are examples of righteous people
Right.
living the true gospel.
Yeah. It's really heartbreaking.
Yeah. We've seen it our whole life.
Yeah. Because our mother and father are far from healthy.
True. And far
yet
from
they
happy.
hold temple recommends.
Yeah. But they
which
don't
is
go
supposed
together
to be the golden standard. Oh, heavens, no.
because they don't like each other all that much, but they stay together
no.
because they're married in the temple.
And-
And why the fuck would they want to be together forever
Why?
if they don't want to be together right now?
Why? That's some real magic
You know, that's
in the afterlife.
that's stuff we shouldn't really talk about in detail, but
Probably
it's
not.
a common story. I'm
It
sure.
definitely is.
It's rare that you know people in the church that get divorced, even if they should.
Yeah, that's true. And when they do get divorced, it's like, oh my God.
it's the worst.
What did they do?
How could they do that to their family?
Oh, they just must be sick. He must have been watching pornography.
Oh, pornography.
She must have not been
is
paying her
the answer
tithing.
for sure.
She cheated on him. Oh God. Did they kill someone?
The kings and queens and priests and priestesses of gossip dwell in the
become
congregations of
Queens.
the Mormon Church.
Oh, to the most high God of gossip.
That's right.
It seriously is
I remember.
a plague.
I can distinctly remember one fairly young couple that got divorced, and the woman started dating the friend of one of her sons.
I know exactly who you're talking
And
about.
that was like, whoa, dude.
Oh, what?
Do you know if they're still members?
I don't. I don't know.
Doubt it.
Haven't seen them since I was a teenager. I grew up with their younger son.
Yeah.
Who's a year older than me.
The kid whose friend she dated?
No,
Or the younger
his
than
younger
that?
brother. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
what
she
a mess.
she was a whore of Babylon.
Whore! Stoner! Not stoner. Stone her.
Stone that whore.
Although apparently Mormons can get stoned if it's for medical use.
prescribed.
If it's prescribed by a competent physician.
Yeah, that's crazy. I
That is
don't know if
cray
that's
cray.
ever been distinguished before, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see an uptick in marijuana prescriptions in Utah.
I have literally never heard that before.
Me either.
Shocked.
I am shocked.
As long as it's used
You know,
in
I think
moderation.
actually, I don't remember where I was reading this now, but leaders in government who obviously are Mormon
Mm-hmm.
did get behind some medical marijuana policy.
No.
Yeah,
Say it isn't so.
I can't.
I'll be.
Yeah, I just don't see how that clears anything up.
Definitely doesn't. I'm all sorts of confused.
Yeah.
Never been more confused.
Jesus.
God.
Jesus help me.
Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus, bear me strength.
That's good.
Uh,
Well, shit, man.
shit, man.
This, unfortunately, will be the last episode that we get to do
No.
together.
In the same
in
room.
the same room
Oh,
for a while,
yeah.
as Lisa will be returning to China until at least next summer.
No.
There may be a visit in between,
Maybe.
but you won't be back for
long.
a set amount of time,
Right.
for quite a while. So we are gonna set it up, get it arranged, so that we can do it remotely through the wonder of the internet.
Dedication.
In our experience, the internet has been somewhat problematic
Yeah.
as far as connection of
We'll have
FaceTime
to
and
see
stuff.
what my
But in
internet
Shanghai,
is like.
it should be better.
You would think.
You would think. That's where she will be. Why don't you tell people
What I do?
how you ended up in China for the last year?
Yeah.
And why you're going back?
Okay. Well, I had recently graduated college. And blah, 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 blah. I had thought about becoming a teacher, thought about dabbling in some kind of program in the States, but it didn't work out. And then, actually through a BYU Idaho email, I found a link to this program in China that was called Amison Year in China. And it was just for any college graduate with a bachelor's degree that was from a native English-speaking country. And I was like, cool, sign me up. So then I lived for a year in China, teaching kids in a rural school about 3 hours south of Shanghai by bullet train. Pretty far, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I got another job teaching in Shanghai itself, which is where I'll be going to for the next year.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, but
yeah, it's gonna be great.
I like America too.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool for you.
It's really great. But I'm excited to record more.
Yeah,
and hopefully that
we'll figure it out.
Works out.
I think the practical way to go about this, since I produce several shows, some that I host and some that I just produce for others, to organize time and efforts appropriately, I think we'll do these in seasons. So this episode would be the finale of season 1, and then season 2 would start once we've established this workflow. And then we'll see how the show hits people. Hopefully we get some feedback as to what they would like to hear more of.
Right.
And then we'll be thinking about what we want to do.
Yeah.
Topics we want to discuss further.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I imagine, and I would like sometimes for it to just be a conversation.
Shooting the shit.
Yeah. And then sometimes I would like to choose topics that we'd like to learn more about, discuss more about, and hopefully maybe impart some understanding to listeners about. One thing I really want to get deeper into and understand is the King Follett discourse that Joseph Smith gave not too long before he died, which is where really the doctrine of an exalted man becoming God,
which is kind of the crux of Mormonism,
comes from.
Yeah. It's a good point.
And a lot of other weird stuff in this, it was like a 2-hour sermon that he gave at the funeral for someone.
He must have been on something.
And babies will stand on thrones.
Oh my God. And there are men on the moon.
I don't think that's where that comes from, but he's
oh my God.
Joseph said that there are men
and
on the moon.
sun, no less. God damn
Are there people on the sun? I'm sure of it.
You know what's funny?
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like I really went through the most intense portion of sifting through all of this shit over the last year.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of past that emotional attachment to all of it, especially because, we've already left the church. And so, you've already helped me work through the most emotionally traumatizing aspects of all of this. And part of me is just I'm going to live my life and forget that it ever happened, only a quarter of my life was spent on this stuff. But then we get talking about it, and I'm like, oh my God, it's still so fascinating. I can't stop.
Fascinating. And that's why so many people can leave the church, but they can't leave it alone. Yeah, because it's pretty tough to
find anything more fucked up.
Yeah. And to realize that what you believed, if you did, your whole life,
right,
was a steaming pile of hot, dirty, chunky, nasty shit.
Yeah, it's still gonna take a long time to really fully process all of this. It's gonna reek on you for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to think that I'm like moving past it rather quickly, but no.
It's kind of like,
if I'm really honest, it's just still a mess.
Yeah. It's kind of like you ate all this garbage. And then you shit it out and you look back and you're like, wait a minute. How did I get here? What did I put in?
Yeah.
What's in this?
What has happened to my brain?
Yeah. How did this, and then where did this food come from?
Yeah.
How did it get grown, manufactured?
Right.
Because, so many people just are born into.
Yeah. Are spoon fed. And then I got older and I was I want to eat all this.
Yeah. But of all kinds of religions, that's
true.
That's the only way stuff like this perpetuates.
Right.
Which is
really unfortunate.
Converts to the church are not as frequent as the church would like.
No.
And retention of those converts is very poor.
Yeah.
The progression comes from having many children, raising them in the church, and getting them to marry either members of the church or get somebody in so you can, hey, we could be together forever and our families will be together forever. And then a lot of people just are like, oh, I love you. So, okay, I guess. And then, people stay on the rolls for a long time, even if they're not active.
Yeah. Or members at all. I wonder if I'm on the roll. Can't be.
I don't think they're allowed to count you if your membership is officially resigned.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely sure if dead people are taken off or something about there's a number of years that you're counted, like 100 years or something like that.
I know that you can't do work for someone unless they've been dead for 100 years, unless you have permission from their closest living relatives. I think that's where that number is coming from. Yeah.
In 100 years, nobody will be around to protest this.
So it's free game.
So Anne Frank getting dunked in the water.
Along with Hitler.
Yep. Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, they claim 16, 17 million people as members of the church. There's nowhere near that going to church every Sunday and paying their tithing and going to the temple. There's just not.
Nope. I'm sure not.
The one true church makes up, even at the high estimate of 16 million, less than 1% of the world's population.
Yeah.
Almost 200 years after it's founded. And it's supposed to spread to every corner of the earth.
Visit every continent.
Well, we visited a bunch of them. They're not all eating it up.
No.
It's not very.
Damn them.
It's not very enticing to most people.
Yeah, no. As that little cartoon there,
right,
showed.
You baptize people who are dead.
Goodbye.
Good day. Well,
does that about cover it?
I mean, there's a lot more to talk about. But is there anything else you would like to talk about this evening?
Yeah, I like rum.
Yeah. So what have we learned today?
I like rum. I like spiced rum.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know what? You can drink it and you're not a bad person.
Thank you.
And you have a good time.
Yeah.
And you feel good about yourself. And we have a good connection.
Yep.
And we tell stories.
Yep.
And
we laugh.
And we laugh.
And we laugh.
And we're okay.
And it's fine.
It's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine. Thank God.
It's gonna be fine.
Oh God.
We thank you for joining us. This has been fun. I'm glad that Lisa and I got to do this, to get this started.
Yeah. We got a nice good start here.
Yeah. We recorded a whole bunch.
Nice and solid.
As you're listening to this is probably episode 10.
Of what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think so. There will be more.
Whew.
Whew.
Thank God you're here, because man.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know.
I don't know. I don't know shit.
You're a stupid woman.
I'm just dumb.
Well, I'm glad that you wanted to do this. And I'm glad that, with my experience in doing this already, I was able to provide a place for you to talk through this.
It's been really great.
I'm glad. I look forward to doing it more.
Me too.
And to you listeners, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm Dan.
I'm Lisa.
We are siblings in Zion. God be with you till we meet again.
God
knew you were singing.
be with you till we meet again.
I don't remember the next line.
With his grace and
till we meet again.
till we meet.
Oh, yeah.
Till we meet at Jesus' feet.
I remember when we would sing hymns when I was young, like an adolescent, I would like sing in a deeper voice so I could like blend into the men's side of the harmony.
Till we meet.
I would sing like Dad, pretty much.
Yeah,
I would
he does sing really low. Yeah. God. The hymns.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.